Our storm system is wrapping up. Here's what to expect for the rest of it, overnight tonight into tomorrow, as well as what to expect this week and possibly this weekend. All right. So, yeah, what a day, huh? Now, again, this is the Zone Watch radar. I'm using it on a computer right now, but there's also the Zone Watch app. And I just have to say, their radar handled the precipitation types and depictions and placement better than any other app that I used for this. You know, if you looked at, like, say, radar scope today, you had pink blotches indicating ice in places that didn't even make sense. The rain didn't even push on until well after it was actually falling, if you were looking at it. But this Zone Watch app is absolutely great. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But we're looking at live radar right now. And you can see this, the ice never made it into North Jersey above 80. You know, basically you just had an Arctic wall of cold air and high pressure just kept it at bay. It did advance northward throughout the entire state, starting this morning and to where it is right now. But you know, things have halted. Things have halted. So, you know, the precip's going to end soon here. You can see this back edge. What we have here is a dry slot occurring from the transfer. Remember how I said when there's a Miller B transfer, you have a dry slot? Well, here's the dry slot. And this dry slot's going to end precipitation probably in the next hour or two for North Jersey. Now, some of you in North Jersey are probably like, thank goodness, because I can't take anymore. You know, today we issued an upgrade to our totals. We issued a yellow area up here where you know, we thought totals had to be raised to 16 to 20. And it did. That's Sparta area, I believe Oak Ridge, Franklin Lakes, Hillside. I had a couple near 20 reports come in, and you know, I wasn't surprised. This area stayed all snow with minimal mixing. Some of the areas down south, and again, that upgrade map today was snow and sleet. So you know, I'm down here in this area, but I was in that blue area that we upgraded, and you know, I saw 8 inches of snow. I shoveled everything, and then 2 inches of sleet fell after the 8 inches of snow. It put me over into that 10 category today. So you know, I can count on my finger. I don't even know. I don't think I've ever seen 2 inches of sleet before fall in my backyard. At least I've heard about it elsewhere, but it was incredible to witness 2 inches of sleet today after 8 inches of snowfall, and that was down here. Some of those areas up here, you know, some of you maybe got over 12, some of you did not. With the snow and sleet together. But up here is widespread kaboom. And, you know, let's just take a moment to appreciate and recognize that we had a kaboom. It's been a while since you've had a kaboom up here. The last one was 2022 down here. And before that, you know, who knows, maybe 2018. But, you know, they're rare. They're few and far between. They're extremely rare instances. And for the snow lover, it's like winning the Super Bowl when it happens for them. And you know, it also brings a lot of hardship for first responders and people who are out on the road, utility crews and stuff like that. So again, a delicate balance between, you know, enthusiasm and recognizing that the risks to safety that it brings. But let's move on here. We have the back edge of precipitation. You know, it's coming to a close here. So we're basically at the end of phase 2 here in the 3-phase that I laid out originally. And, you know, phase 2 ends where basically this ice reaches its maximum extent as far as how far it pushes in. And this ice rain line here also reaches its maximum extent. So, you know, here we are. And phase 3 occurs when the low gets established out here and rips this precipitation back. Now, if this was just a singular low here, I'm gonna draw this out because there's a key difference that I want to point out. So, you know, let's say the secondary right here, it's going to be moving out this way. there's still some low pressure in this area from the primary. And instead of air wrapping around this way and dragging cold air down and possibly dragging this snow over the entire state, that would happen if there was a singular low here, but we don't have that. We have two lows. So instead, you have circulation that wants to come around these two lows, okay, and basically go like that. So here you have an eastward flow right off the ocean, so it's going to keep things warm, and that's why it is not going to wrap around and hit everybody with a third round of snow. It's going to just kind of maintain the current precip types and fizzle out as the back edge comes through. Now, this area over here does want to come through, but it's probably just going to move through North Jersey only, and really affect only these areas only with snow. It's very anticlimactic, honestly. I'll show you on the HER model in a little bit. So a little bit more mixing for Central Jersey, Southwest Jersey. A little bit more rain for Southeast Jersey, that rain that pushed in off the ocean. This probably ends, by the time this comes through North Jersey, it's probably 1 or 2 a.m., but this is going to end within the next hour or two. So let's look at some model guidance. This is the HER, latest run of the HER. So again, there's that shut off, but you do, and watch this area here. That's that batch here basically coming through. So that's going to basically just come through Jersey like that. The existing precipitation types remain the same. Snow, North Jersey, ice, Central Jersey, rain at the shore. They don't crash colder because of, again, you have this circulation going like this around the two lows. Air coming off the ocean instead of a tight swirl here ripping that cold down. So that's what you can expect tonight. Precip cuts off in the next hour or two from the main batch, and then from that original primary, a little bit of showers come through in the same exact precipitation types that you're seeing now. And then we clear out, right? And then we look at some temperatures. So this is surface temperatures, and this is how cold it's going to be this week. Remember, this system found a weakness and punched a hole through the Arctic air mass, but that's now going to close up. We're going back to the Arctic tomorrow, and we're going to be that way well into February, but mainly this week. So this is the warmest part that it gets, which is about midnight, 1 a.m. tonight. Okay, that's as far as above freezing temperatures make it into New Jersey. But then look, tomorrow morning, gone. Tomorrow morning we wake up and we're all in the 20s. We have a cold day. We max out maybe 25, 26, 27 tomorrow for a high. And then look at tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, you have some barrier islands in the teens, but for the most part, it's like 0 to 10 tomorrow night. But that's just the first year. Look at, let's see, like Wednesday night. I mean, all these nights are cold here. You're actually forecasted tomorrow, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. You're actually forecasted negative in North Jersey, down to about 9 or 10 down here. So Tuesday night, Wednesday night, extremely cold. Look at that, Wednesday night. Oh my goodness. You got -9 forecasted as a temperature, not even wind chill. Wednesday night into Thursday, down to the single digits in South Jersey. So this is going to be a cold week, and that just goes right up into the weekend. But back to tomorrow. Anything that's wet is going to freeze tomorrow. That rain probably washed away road treatments. Roads need to be resalted tomorrow. It's gonna be treacherous driving tomorrow. Assume anything wet is frozen tomorrow. Hopefully some winds can help dry it out a little bit, but this is one of those cases where you have really cold air coming in behind a little bit of a rain system. So I think everyone should use a little extra caution tomorrow if you're traveling. So again, we're super cold this week until this thing comes up the coast. Now this is the next storm signal, and we're only 6 days away from this. This is not far out. So we're probably going to be talking about this week, right? This mass that's coming up the coast, and we're far enough away, 6 days away, where we're not going to predict anything. We're just going to discuss and casually watch it as a storm signal that might happen, right? Because if you look at the latest European model, you see this little low down here. Let me use a better color that you can actually see. See down here in the Gulf, this little low right here, right? That little thing. Watch that as it comes up the coast from Friday into Saturday. That's a Miller A snowstorm, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is the European 18Z, so it only goes out to 144 hours. This storm has appeared on model guidance, disappeared. It's ghosting. A lot of the times with a system like this, you see, it shows up on the GFS first. The GFS is the first to sniff it out, but then the GFS just loses it completely, right? And then something like the Euro picks it up a couple days later. Here we are now. And then by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have all the models showing it. So that's probably what I think is happening here. But if you were to follow this precipitation and extrapolate it visually, it's probably going to turn up the coast there and nail Jersey. Where this low gets to, we'll have to see. If we take a step up to the upper levels support that storm. I mean, look, we have a negative trough here, a trough becoming negative, this 500 millibar look. This is cyclonic vorticity, by the way, which is a measurement of how much the air is spinning. Now, if the air is moving straight, it's just white like this, right? But based on how much it's spinning, it's a scale of light blue to green to yellow and then red where it's spinning the most. So when you have a situation like this, a little bit of meteorology, this air is all spinning. You follow these streamlines. Air is moving through here, spinning, but then it comes out and it straightens. So think of a figure skater when they spin around really quick, right? Their arms and legs are tight to their body and they're spinning really fast. But then they put their arms out, things spread out and they slow down, right? So that's what this air does as it travels through here. It comes in the spinning air, and when it gets out here, it's stretching out. And as the air stretches out, it drops pressure. And you have low pressure at the surface that wants to go underneath that greatest pressure drop that's aloft. And that's basically the concept of divergence and the whole positive vorticity advection principle here. That's stuff you can Google if you want to. But if not, that's it in a nutshell. The air is spinning, the air becomes straight, stretches out the atmosphere and drops pressure. And basically down at the lower levels, the low likes to follow it. I'm to the point now where I look at this. I mean, I can tell you exactly where the low is. It's right where it's coming out of the strongest, transitioning from the strongest spinning to the strongest straighting air, the positive vorticity advection. I can look at this and just tell you the lows right here without even having to look here. But depending on the axis of this and how it affects these streamlines will determine whether or not that low is tucked along the coast and too warm for Jersey, or whether it's too far away, missing out to sea, or if it's right in that benchmark zone, bringing a snowstorm to New Jersey. So this is something I'm going to be watching this week. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. Honestly, I haven't gotten much sleep in the last couple of days. I need a nice rest tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and take that opportunity to rest. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what else to expect tonight with this storm system, what to expect tomorrow throughout this week, temperature-wise. Very cold, Arctic air mass. And then, of course, a possible another storm system in the weekend. Sort of reminds me of the 2010 winter. February of 2010, when we had back-to-back large storms. That was only in a 4 or 5 day period apart. I guess this would be more of like a 6 to 7 day apart. But the way this winter's going, this last storm put everybody above average snowfall for this time of year. If you remember, I did an Aaron Judge analogy, the baseball analogy I like to do, and we're maybe entering the fifth inning of winter here. I told you on Monday that come this weekend, the bases were loaded. You're up a few runs, and Aaron Judge is stepping up to bat. And he hit one out, didn't he? A lot of us saw significant to moderate accumulations in South Jersey, and North Jersey is still ripping as we speak, as some people cross that 20-inch zone, in that Sparta area up here. So I'm sure we'll be talking more this week about the weekend storm system, but please stay warm. Um, it's the pipe bursting stuff. It's the dangerous stuff. So use a little extra caution. Everybody have a great rest of your Sunday night and please be safe.